Hey everybody, Shane Presley here with Rock Paper Podcast. Let me tell you about my friends over at Naked Vine, located at 1624 Clarkson Road in Chesterfield, Missouri, serving up all your favorite wine, whiskey, tequila, and local craft beers. I swing by and visit them this week. They got a huge week of live music happening. Thursday, April 4th, my buddy Cree Ryder will be out there. Friday, April 5th, Last Dance tribute to Tom Petty. So all your favorite Petty tunes all night long. And on Saturday, April 6th, I believe this is their debut out there, Falling Fences. That's going to be a big show. Again, all this information and more can be found at nakedvine.net. Be sure to follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And mark your calendar, Tuesday, April 9th. I return to Naked Vine with my singer-songwriter storytelling showcase with Carson Mann, Hillary Fitz, and Jordan Sloan. $5 cover, 7 o'clock start. Come on out. Again, that's every second Tuesday of the month at Naked Vine. Hey, I also want to tell you about my friends, Joseph Meyer Club. If you haven't heard about them yet, you need to go check it out at josephmeyerclub.com. And try their brand new aftershave. If you're looking to try it out, there is a code. If you enter at checkout, you can get 20% off, and that's RPPJMC20. Exclusive 20% off for all my listeners. So check that out. It's a great product, smells wonderful, and so pick it up. josephmeyerclub.com. And be sure to follow along with them on Facebook for more info. Enjoy the show, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.
A podcast is kind of like it's like a radio show that's not on the radio. It's on the internet. Does that make sense? Uh-huh. Yeah. That's also like my mom. It makes it sound more confusing, doesn't it? It sounds like this.
Hey, everybody. This is Alex Ruwe, and you're listening to Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast, y'all.
Hey everybody, Shane Presley here, Rock Paper Podcast, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri. Hanging out today with Alex Ruwe. Welcome to the show, my friend.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm thrilled you're here. This is exciting. We have a lot going on. We got, but this is our first time really getting to sit and chat and hang out. I think I know I've seen you at Oyster Bar. I bumped into you one night there. You were doing a dinner show. Mm-hmm. We were talking about a time we were. I guess we didn't meet that night though. I think we were at the same show. We said.
Yeah, I think we've had a few concerts where we waved at each other. Yeah. We know who each other are and waved, maybe shaking hands, but not sort of talked at length. So this has been cool.
Yeah, and that's what's fun about doing this show is it allows me the opportunity to sit down like this and actually, because a lot of times I do meet people. It's at a bar or concert or whatever, and it's not really a good place to have a nice conversation. But that's what allows me to sit down and talk about everything you're up to. So
I love it.
Yeah, man. So we're hanging out here at your home studio, man. This is a nice little space we got happening here. It's kind of where the magic happens, huh?
Yeah, that's it, man. I slowly it started as just a guitar and a microphone, and slowly but surely it's morphed into synthesizers and tambourines and shakers and all different kinds of things. And so this is where I come in the morning. I drink a cup of coffee with my wife, and then I come down here and start writing. Yeah, man. Start putting some tunes together and see what comes out.
Very cool. That so I guess let's start at the beginning. Take me back. Tell me a little bit more about Alex Ruwe and where all this music gets started and stuff, man. Like what?
Yeah.
So you been at this for a while, or do you start pretty young, or?
Yeah. Music was always around. My dad was a drummer. My brother grew up playing trumpet and bass, and my mom sings, and actually everybody in the family sings. So I was always around music. My first concert I went to was Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, very cool.
When I was 7. So I was always around it, always sang. And then when I was maybe 7 or 8, it was sort of, all right, Alex, what instrument are you going to play? It wasn't wasn't really an option. I just had to pick one. Whether you want to play music or not, it was just sort of assumed. And so I started playing piano. I liked the instrument, but I didn't really get it. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I was learning songs, learning scales and stuff like that, but I didn't really love what I was doing. But I stuck with it for a number of years. And then picked up the guitar in high school and, liked playing guitar, played some, but didn't really dive into my instruments until a little bit later in life, until actually in college. So started studying piano again when I got to college, and that's along with I had a professor, Paul Johnston, that sort of really taught me how to approach the instrument differently. Before I was learning how to play songs and how to read music, which was really valuable now, but I didn't really know how to I didn't see the instrument as this thing I could sit down and put patterns together and put sounds together, and he just sort of changed my outlook on it. So that's really when I started diving into piano and into guitar a whole lot more. But I played in cover band. My first cover band was San Felice Agency when I was 14 years old. Yeah. Just sang for that. I wasn't playing any instruments, but we did 311 to Red Hot Chili Peppers to Tom Petty to Real Big Fish. And then that's when I really started writing songs. So we had probably 6 or 7 originals at the time. All my friends like to give me a lot of grief because first song I ever wrote for the band was this song called Chill Box, and it was about, the opening line was "Come to my chill box and chill with me," and it was all about this, come to my cool place and hang out with me. And, anyway, it was silly stuff, but that's when it really started. It was about 14 or 15, and I've written off and on ever since, but I would say been a dedicated songwriter, writing songs at least weekly. Now I write songs every day, but writing songs weekly and it being something that was part of my life, probably in my mid-20s is really when it became a focus.
Yeah. Any of those any recordings of Chill Box out there?
There is some recordings of Chill Box, and my friends sort of tempt, it's sort of haunting in the background, dude, we're gonna put it out. Yeah. We're gonna release it for the world to hear. Your song Chill Box.
I think that's as goofy as it may be, and you might kind of resent it sometimes. I think because you always want to be known for your newer stuff and what you're most proud of. But I think some of that's I compare it to a lot to myself with doing this show.
Right.
I didn't know anything about podcasting, radio, or anything. All this stuff when I started. So those first couple episodes are kind of rough, and we had a good time. But as far as recording wise, and our even in being a host and everything else, we had no idea what we were doing.
Right.
We were just having fun with it, and so they're kind of rough to listen to. But to track that growth and to where I'm at now, I feel a lot more confident in what we're doing in here and everything. But it's fun to kind of go back and see that stuff, just to see the growth of how far you've come along since since those days and stuff. So
yeah, it is. Well, and it's. It is. It's fun to look back at those things and sort of see what you were listening to, what you were working on at the time, and it also it's a testament to how far you've come and all the work that you've put in. I mean, you when you really throw yourself into something, you grow. Things get better. So you're right. It's something to look back on and fondly.
Yeah, man. So you said in your 20s you really kind of got into songwriting.
I worked in healthcare for a handful of years, and then long story short, the company changed. I was let go, and I took a 10-day trip and I drove out to Yellowstone to sort of figure out what I was going to do next. And I ended up deciding to find some way or another, whether it was a Peace Corps, teaching, or playing music or something, I was going to go and live in another part of the world. And ended up moving to Spain to work as an au pair and to teach and to play music. And it was over there that my days were scheduled where I was working mostly in the evenings. So I had the daytime at home to write and so forth. And that's really when I started taking songwriting a lot more seriously and becoming something that I did on a daily basis.
Yeah. What Do you find that you're writing just about a lot of life experiences and true stories, or are you more of a make up different stories and stuff, or what do you find yourself writing a lot about when you started writing?
At that time, I was writing about things that I felt, things that I experienced, and trying to put stories around them. And I always liked like silly, playful things as well. So I'd write funny songs or things that would, things about my family. I have three nieces, my brother and my sister-in-law. They have three girls, and so I'd write lullabies about them using their names or things. Yeah. And I actually have a lullaby that I wrote for them. Gosh, that's maybe 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago, called "Good Night, Little Darlings." Last year, I partnered with an illustrator from Spain, and we made it into a storybook. And very soon you'll be able to purchase this storybook and listen to the lullaby. And
very nice.
Yeah, it's cool. When you open up the cover, there'll be a link that you can take a picture of, and that will open up a video of me performing the song, so you can sing it along with me. And so those kinds of songs were things that I felt, or our ideas. That song in particular was about ideas that I had for them on how they should approach their day in order to live happy and healthy and fulfilling lives. So those kind of came from the heart. But that's morphed a lot over the last, in particular this last year. And I would say a lot more of my life with regard to songwriting has changed in that, before I wanted to write some songs, I liked doing it, right? I'd get I'd get some inspiration, I'd go to write a song. I don't do that so much anymore. Songwriting for me is now more of it's a job. It's something that I get up and I come downstairs and I play my instruments and I look for something, a story to tell, or and it's also a little bit different. I've collaborated with a couple of there's a producer here in Belleville named Oliver Codd, and he does a lot of movies, trailer music and things like that. And he got a request this year for sort of darker, rockin', outlaw, country kind of music for some TV series and some movies. So now I'm in the process of writing some songs that him and I are going to collaborate on. I'm going to write the songs and he's going to produce them. So that's a totally different way of writing songs. Imagining True Detective, and what's the sound? What are the stories? What are the words? That's much more like writing based on mood or based on a character, as opposed to writing based on what some experience of Alex Ruwe that I lived, or. But it's also been good. It's a little bit difficult at times. I don't write that kind of music, so.
Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of fun too, like you're saying, in almost like a character, like you can kind of, it's like created your own fantasy world or whatever it is. If you're some gunslinger or whatever, like you can create these different characters through the song, whatever different moods, whatever it is, so like that kind of thing. It's kind of fun to never know where the song can go and what it could be and stuff. So
that's it's one of the songs that I've got done. I've got to finish one other one, but it's called "The Spaniard," and it's about a bullfighter who is who's about to go out and fight a bull, and he can, the anxiety is setting in and the crowd's in the background, and so. That was a really fun song for me to write, to sort of close my eyes and imagine what he's feeling before he goes out there, and just sort of try and paint that picture and bring that to life. So it's been good. Like I said, it's been challenging. It's a different set of skills I got to call upon or develop. Whereas it's easy to write when you're inspired. Those are really fun moments of writing. It's different when you're on the clock or when you're writing for somebody else and you don't have inspiration. So
I think I don't know how many or whatever what the numbers are, but like it seems like so many of my favorite records or songs, a lot of them are either love songs, falling in love or falling out of love, because that's like what inspires so many people to write. You know, it's like those emotions and stuff. So, But yeah, like you're saying, when you're not really in that moment and you're like saying on the clock, it's a little different when you got to try to come up with something and kind of. And but yeah, it's I imagine like all of that like is still good tools to have and like good practices just to keep more just keep writing and creating more content and stuff, whether it's for those shows or and then apply also to whatever you maybe learn and apply to your personal your own original music and stuff. So
that's exactly it. My band has been working on some music together, and we're a newer band of I've been playing music with a lot of different people in St. Louis, but now I finally have found a few people that want to make music with me on a consistent basis, like get together and rehearse a couple times a week and let's compose music together, and trying to figure out what our sound is, and we're still a little bit too new. It's like we've got a couple of pop songs, Missin' Me's sort of in that vein. Do we want to go in that direction, or do we want to go a little bit more into the country direction, or a little more rockin'? And so we had a piece that was sort of more like the rock anthem style, like maybe a little bit like Bastille, or a little bit like Coldplay, like kind of like Stadium, which we liked a lot. I've just never really written lyrics to that. So, closing my eyes and trying to imagine, okay, what are 70,000 people going to sing? That again was totally different. I'm used to being the guy with an acoustic guitar in my lap, sitting around a campfire, sitting on a stage with 60 people around me. Yeah. What's the melody? What's the hook? What are those kinds of things that go into that 70,000 people are going to want to sing? So once again, it's been, the first couple of songs that I've, pitched for that have not been, not things that I'm proud of. But I think you're right. It's good. It's stretching those skills, and it's like anything. Mm-hmm. Go write 10 more of them, and you'll start to get there. Yeah. You'll start to put some things together that make a little more sense, or a little bit better in quality. Yeah. So
you mentioned Missin' Me. We did do a little live acoustic session here in the studio, and we did a version of Missin' Me, which let's talk about this one. You got any stories around Missin' Me you want to share?
Missin' Me was I'm trying to think. It wasn't. Missin' Me was one of those tunes that it sounds like it came from the heart. The content of it is about, the chorus is, you don't know what you're missing, but you're going to be missing, you're going to be missing, you're going to be missing me. Which could very well have been from a relationship where, sort of sending somebody, or they were sending me packing, and sort of a lyric about that, but it really wasn't that. I found a chord pattern that I liked, and that actually was the Missin' Me, just that the way that I was singing that I liked. I liked the melody of it, and so I just built a song around that idea. Mm-hmm. And truth be told, I think that song's maybe 4 years old now. I would say a lot of the stuff that I've written in the last 3 or 4 years has been more of that nature. Mm-hmm. And I'm not really sure that I want to be writing like that. I think I'd like to be writing some things from my heart and soul, where I'm pouring my blood and heart onto the table, but I just, that's not what's necessarily coming out.
Yeah. I do like that second verse kicks in, took the bait, carried the weight. Yeah. It's almost like a little quick rap kind of thing. Yeah. It's not really rapping, but just like that rapid fire kind of flow to it a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. There's absolutely some hip hop elements.
Yeah. But that's what caught my attention when I was listening to it. I really liked the way that sounded and stuff. The way.
Spend a little time on the outside, spend a little time looking in. Learned a little bit about romance, I learned a little bit about sin. I gave it my all, I started to fall, I caught myself before I hit the wall. Here I am, said tired again, beat up but not broken. I said, you don't know what are you missing? I said, you can't see what I see. I said, you don't know, said, what are you missing? But you've been missing, girl, you're missing me. Oh no. So no, ba-da-da-da, no. Well, I took the bait, I carried the weight, I tested fate till it was almost too late. I held it in, I forced a grin. Devil was reaching out from within. Got lost again into sin. What is it with me and women? I guess I should just walk alone. What's this life without love? Oh no, you don't know. Said, what are you missing? I said, you can't see what I see. I said, you don't know. Said, what are you missing? But you've been missing, girl, you've been missing me. No. See, no. See, I would have crossed the sea for that woman. I would have laid my life on the line. I would have gave away my possessions. I would have spent my very last dime. But oh, she took me for granted. Oh, she did me wrong. Here I am, tired again. Beat up but not broken. I said, you don't know what you're missing. No. You can't see what I see. No. You don't know, said, what are you missing? But you've been missing, girl, you've been missing me. But you've been missing, girl, you've been missing me. Oh, you've been missing, girl, you've been missing me. Oh no. Said, bow. Well, and that's and that's what as I'm writing stuff. I like hearing that kind of stuff because, I that's my favorite part of the song as well. Yeah. That was a fun piece for me to do. Performing it live, it's fun. It's high energy. I really got to push. So maybe we'll start to do some more things like that. Yeah. And I think with regard to the band, that's really what we're trying to do. I think this year, as opposed to writing 10 songs and then going to record those, I think what we're going to instead do is, let's try and write 15 or 20 songs together, and then let's step back. Let's perform those a little bit. Let's push a few of those out. Let's see what people like and respond to. And not necessarily to be puppets, like, whatever the crowd says, that's what we're going to be. Not so much that, but just to see what people like. Mm-hmm. Do they like... Do they like me on acoustic? Do they like us kind of grooving? Do they want to see us turn up and get a little more rocking? And
I kind of like it all, though. Like that's, for me, like some of my favorite bands, and you take you on a journey through, a ride through the set, mm-hmm. where you got your ups and downs through it all. You're dancing. You're gonna have those party kind of songs, and then you're gonna show some emotion and bring it down a little bit, but then you're gonna bring it back up.
Well said.
So it's like, I like it. I like it to be a whole experience when I go to a show, and you get an hour of music, and you're gonna feel everything.
Yeah. Well said.
So that's why I like. So I like those bands that can do it a little bit of everything.
Well said. We've been talking a lot about that too, because. Like I said, now I'm performing with a band, and for the longest time, I grew up playing piano, but I walked away from the instrument for years, didn't touch it for 4 or 5 years. After playing it for 5 years, and then off for 5, and then back for 7, and so now I've sort of gone back to playing piano again, and trying to figure out, I've been the guy with an acoustic guitar in his hand singing for 15 years now. Even if as the band grows, like that's still probably going to be a part of this.
Yeah.
There will probably be where the band takes the stage and we play a number of tunes, and then the band goes away and I'm just on a stool, playing one or two, or sitting behind a piano, or So that's an active part of our conversation right now as we're building the show. Is that element should still be there, at least for a few minutes of the show.
Yeah, you know Amos Lee?
I do.
Huge fan of
He's
his.
outstanding.
I got to see him a little while back. Maybe I think it was actually it was my birthday present to myself last summer. So my birthday is June. I saw him at Powell Symphony Hall with the orchestra.
Oh wow!
And he so exactly what you're saying is like, so he does most of these songs are written on acoustic guitar with him or piano, and he started the show off just him in acoustic and did like 3 or 4 that way, and of course like just awesome, beautiful songs. And then the band joined him, so he had a drummer, piano, and bass, I think, and then the second after they did a couple more like that, and then the band, and then the orchestra came out, and then they did a set like that, and I was like, so it was crazy.
Really
it was
cool.
I mean, that's like full range dynamics there, man. You go from 1 to 50 players on stage now or whatever it is, and like, so it's really cool to see how he could take those songs and arrange them that way and stuff and build them up like that. And
well, I like that stuff too. I mean, everybody from Coldplay to Dave Matthews have done those kinds of things.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You start with a party, then we reduce, then we pick it back up again, and like I said, we'll see as things go on. But I certainly, it feels like that's going to have to be a part of the show.
all right,
You know what I mean? At least especially with some of the stuff that I write, some of the ballads and things that I've written over the years. I'd like to share those tunes, and they're not necessarily tunes for the band to play on. And who knows? And that's the other piece of this too. Is like, is Alex Ruwe a songwriter and that's an act, and then there's the Alex Ruwe band, or that's something else and that's a separate entity altogether. They could be. This could be completely independent things, or it could be me as a songwriter who's now has a band that's sort of built around that, and we're building things together. And so we keep that where I've been over the last 15 years writing songs and making music alive by keeping a solo piece in that, whether that's in the show or whether that's even on albums that we release.
Yeah.
We have most of the songs or things that we've written or made together, and then there's a single on there or something like that. That's something that's just I put together. So we'll see.
Sure.
One of those things is as we're making, I think what we're trying to do is at least ask the questions. We're not getting too far ahead of ourselves. Like, nope, we're a rock band. It's like, well, let's make a couple rock songs. Let's see.
One that's the cool thing about today and being a independent musician and everything else, like, we have the technology and we have the resources to do whatever we want.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, so I mean, like, we're not trying to. Nobody's hardly getting any record deals anymore, or these big things like that. So it's like you don't have to fit into the certain things. You can do what you want, and you can be the artist you want to be. Whatever you don't have people telling you what you got to do and what. So
it's true. It's true. There's a ton of flexibility and freedom with regard to that.
Yeah. So. But yeah, man, I'm excited to hear some more what's going on for you and the band and everything coming up. You guys can, if you're listening and you want to find more information, you can head over to alexruwe.com, alexanderruwe.com, sorry.
Both.
Both? All right, there we go.
Both will link.
Yeah, and so yeah, check that out for you can find links to the iTunes and Spotify and the YouTube page for videos and all that stuff. So get and then we'll have dates up there and stuff too. But you said a lot of what you're doing today. You do quite a bit weddings and stuff, right? And,
I do. So I do a lot of corporate functions, weddings where I'll package up, piano or solo acoustic music for the ceremony, and then either bring the band in for the dinner or the dance party or DJ.
Yeah.
So sort of mix it all together and provide all the entertainment you need for your event.
Yeah, man. I think that's incredibly cool to get that call to be a part of somebody's special day like that. Like that's pretty high honor. I'm assuming for you and it's just it's got to be really neat to be a part of all that, and to be and then like first dances or whatever element of you are a part of it, but that's memories that are going to last a lifetime. So
well, and it's truth be told, it's actually in thanks to a lot of the spaces in St. Louis that I meet these people. Mm-hmm. Wedding. I was at Squires last week, and there's a couple in the audience that's getting married in May, and they just booked me to play their wedding. So the band's going to play that night. I was at the Broadway Oyster Bar 9 months ago, and a woman was there and came up to the stage. She said, "Your version of Stand By Me, that old Benny King song.
Yeah,
I love that. I want you to play that for when I dance with my father." And so it's in thanks to a lot of these St. Louis venues where I get to play at, and then I get introduced to people, and then it turns into an opportunity for me to go and play their weddings, and I love it. Songwriting is really what I love to do, and where I'm spending the most of my daytime to really try and refine that craft and figure out the channels to get my songs in other places. But entertaining people, whether that's with cover songs or my own music, is something I hope to do till I'm however many days I have on this planet. I really enjoy performing for people.
What do you have when people first dance or any of that kind of stuff? Like, is there an obscure request that you've received or anything like that?
That's funny.
Is there anything come to mind for?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I will say, not for a first dance. I did have a guy come up to me one time and ask me if I knew there's a skunk in the middle of the road. Something came up. I'll pay you $20 if you can play the skunk in the middle. I think that was the name of it. And I was like, I've never heard that song, but I have since learned of that song. And I play it out from time to time, and it's super funny.
Yeah, $20, huh?
That's right. That's right.
I think I just think that'd be fun, man. Like, so you just be a part of those memories with that couple and the family and everything else. But yeah, whether it's you or the band or whatever you guys, but you can. So you are available for hire if anybody wants to.
Oh, please,
Alex
Ruwe
on their wedding.
Yeah, we're hungry to play, and the band in particular. The goal this year is just to play out. Outside of being together a couple days a week in the rehearsal space, we're on the hunt for opportunities to get on the stage and really refine what the visual is.
Mm-hmm.
How we engage on the stage and how we bring our music to life and sort of, as you talked about, in a way that's dynamic, that takes people on a journey. I mean, that's a skill. That's not a thing that just happens. It's a thing that you got to work on, especially when you've got different people. You know what I mean? It's easy for me to, by myself, I've got a routine when I'm on stage, how I do that, what songs I play, what my energy levels are. It's totally different when I'm looking at, and I've got 3 other guys that I'm looking at, and we're trying to figure out how to do that. So
yeah,
we're hungry to play.
Yeah, man. Well, let's drop in the Riverside, and I you know what, I think this must have been the first one I heard of you in the studio, at least. And you this I listened to it on Spotify earlier today again, and I really liked this particular arrangement and stuff. Like, it's kind of we kind of talked about it off mic too, but it's more of in that folk kind of sound and stuff, and which is very current on radio today too. You got all kinds of those different songs on the radio that are kind of and bringing that sound around and again, but I really like this one. And you said that you wrote this is this, you said this one?
Yeah, I wrote this. Yeah, I wrote this. I was in Spain one morning. I was up having a cup of coffee before my day got started, and a set of changes on the guitar. I started messing with some different guitar changes. And it was something kind of up tempo and kind of fast, and just the beat to it as I was tapping my foot was just that real steady, like a train came through, and then the story just kind of came out. And fire away. Said I'm train going far, and it ain't coming back. You lied again and you made me believe it, and turned it back. This time it's over, don't chase me down, so let me escape. My body's broken, well I can't take no more. This is my life that's at stake. Take me down to the riverside, wash me out, hold me under, then bring me new. I'ma stop loving you. Oh. Fed me lies, did me wrong, then you made me cry. Stole my heart and abused my words, and still I held tight. My wounds are weeping, so my heart is on fire. My head is pounding, my shoulders tired. You want back in, what a grave sin. What's the matter with you, with you? Take me down to the riverside, wash me out, hold me under, then bring me new. I'ma stop loving you. So refreshed, heart restored, pieced back together by the grace of the Lord. Don't call, don't write, don't look my way. This train is gone today. Take me down to the riverside, wash me out, hold me under, then bring me new. I just stop loving you. Take me down to the riverside, wash me out, no, no. Hold me under, then bring me new. I just stop loving you. I just stop loving you, oh no. I just stop loving you.
I like the imagery with it too, like, you know, especially like you're saying by the riverside, and you can kind of paint that picture in your mind of, like, you know, you're just hanging out and stuff. So like, I think that I see that kind of stuff like sometimes in my head, and I imagine like music videos or something like that, and like, and I don't know, someday maybe I'll get into that. Like, that's sort of my goal. I told you I bought these cameras, and I've been trying to get into learn a little more about video and editing and all that stuff. And theoretically, you know, the dream kind of might be, if I get really good at this, I'd like to start getting into producing music videos and stuff. But
well, there's nobody closer to music, I don't think, in St. Louis than you, and just in general, you know. So I mean, you're getting exposure to a lot of different kinds of music and artists, so they can talk to you about their music. So I mean, I imagine your head's full of ideas for these things. Now it's a matter of figuring out how you can get some of that those tech skills figured out, so that you can put that to work for yourself.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Time and money too. If you got any of that, like that would help out a lot.
That's right.
That's my biggest thing, is like I got all these cool ideas. I just don't have any
capital.
Or time. I don't, like, people always ask me when I sleep, and I'm like, well, I just cut out sleeping, and then I got so much more time for everything else. So. between trying to juggle, everything, but it's just fun, man. I mean, I'm having the time of my life doing this and going to all these shows and getting to meet all the people I've been meeting, man. It's just like, everybody's just super cool. Like, it's fun, man.
Well, and we have a really dynamic music scene here in St. Louis.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just, to be honest with you, I'm sort of, you know, I'm over in Belleville, so I'm not always as connected to the scene. And a lot of the work that I do is sort of in the corporate world to make ends meet, so I don't always get out to the smaller venues to hear songwriters and bands and things like that. But over this last year or two, as I've started working with different musicians, I've gotten a lot more exposure to these people, and there's great rock and roll here, there's great folk music here, there's great bluegrass here, there's great blues here. There's just a lot of great music that's going on, and a lot of really great people. So I think that's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right in the mix of all of it.
Yeah, I am just trying to. I'm just a super fan, but I'm trying to document as much of it, and I've talked about it a lot in the show. But I think I sort of envision this show as like a time capsule type of thing.
Right.
Like, I just want to document how much was going on in St. Louis for these. Whenever I'm done, like we can close it up and be like, hey, this is what was going on in St. Louis music for these years, and like people can go back and discover this stuff for forever,
right.
And they can these recordings will live on, and it's like, but there's just so much cool stuff happening today, right now, and
well, for the artists too. Imagine 20 years from now,
sure,
people are working hard. People are throwing everything they have at it and getting better. It'll be a nice, as we talked about earlier, it'll be a nice something to look back at. It's like, wow, look how far we came. We were 3 dudes sitting in the basement, or guy and a girl singing in a coffee shop, and now we've made it to some bigger stages. We've reached some larger audiences. We've sold some albums. We've made some money to pay for our instruments.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't have to be grandiose dreams. It's just hey, I was able to buy myself a new fiddle.
Yeah.
With playing out or selling my CDs and stuff like that. And that's cool. Mm-hmm. Those are important milestones. So I think that's really neat.
Yeah, man. You mentioned Spain and stuff and traveling and stuff. Do you still get to do much of that, or get to travel the world a little bit?
Some. It was my wife and I were in Spain at the end of this last year. We spent right around 2 weeks over there, seeing family and friends and having more fun than we should be. And then we'll be over there again in July for a wedding. One of her best friends is getting married, and so yes, some. Yeah. Lauda has started a new job. She's working for the St. Charles Public Library, and she's a photographer as well. So if any artists out there are looking for somebody to come shoot some photography for you, or once again on the corporate or wedding side, she's into those things as well. And we sort of team up on that front. So we're both sort of early stage of figuring those things out. So we get to travel some, but not as much as we'd like to.
Yeah. When you do go back to Spain or anything, like do you get to jam with local players or any of that kind of stuff?
I do. This last time I did not due to it's Christmas time and New Year's and stuff, and we were all over the place. But one of the things that one of the songs that we talked about, song I wrote last year called Voodoo Girl, is this sort of was inspired by my time in Spain. So flamenco music is very dynamic, very rhythmic, emotional music, and so I took that vibe and some of the chords that they use, and I wrote this fast-paced story about a guy who gets caught up with, he's not really sure if it's a woman or what it is, this voodoo girl down in New Orleans, and this really fast-paced story sort of just follows. And so the dream is to go over to Spain and to hire a flamenco player who can play guitar much faster than I can and much better than I can, to pick this and sort of do a Spanish flamenco version of this song, which right now is more of like a rock and roll. It's like a Spanish rock and roll song. We want to do like a flamenco version over there. So
very nice, yeah.
Lost to her voodoo. Oh no, we gotta go down to New Orleans, where that voodoo girl we logged our care to serve out a remedy. She's got powers in her potion, she's got all the magic needs, but I fear the way she feels just might be the death of me.
let alone getting to see the world, but the music, I think, I mean, that would be a lot of fun to get to, just to get to see those players and some of the stuff, learn some of the different stuff, like you're saying, how, that's one of the things, especially with the internet today, you get all these videos pop up and people are creating all kinds of different instruments and these different things. Like we're pretty used to, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, drums, but and stuff like that. But like get to see, like centaur or stuff or whatever. Different, all these different instruments that we don't see every day and stuff, and getting to see people that are like masters at it and different, and it's like that kind of stuff.
Well, flamenco guitarists are, I mean, they're, as far as playing the acoustic guitar, they're probably some of the finest, most refined players as far as technicality goes that you can find on the planet. And it's just totally, their approach is different. The way they think about music, the emotion that they are trying to convey, the rhythms that they use are very different than what we do over here. So getting exposure to those kinds of things, and that's you hit the nail on the head. Going to other parts of the world to get exposure to those kinds of things, it influences what you do. It gave me a set of chord changes that I was able to use as I told a story about Voodoo Girl down in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So that's really worthwhile stuff.
Yeah. Man. That's another place I'd like to go. I heard that's kind of like the one of the meccas, down in New Orleans. There's just so much music and partying going on and stuff. And like I think I was actually talking to my buddy Matt about it the other day, talking about Mardi Gras and stuff, because St. Louis. We celebrate the second largest, it's like, which I find funny that's the holiday, how they advertise it, second largest, it's like, so it just makes me laugh. But that nobody else ever brags about being second. It's like, but we but I would like to go down to New Orleans. Like I know they have a rich history for all music, and I know jazz is big. I'm not real huge on jazz, but I think if I was down there and experienced it from those players, it would be totally different and stuff. So
100%. I'm fortunate. My folks started going to the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, which is not just a jazz festival, but all the local bands come out and they bring big rock bands, pop bands, blues bands, bluegrass, the whole nine yards. So they started going to that festival, probably 40 years ago. And so I started going to the festival with them when I was like 9. So I've gone to New Orleans every year for a long weekend for the last 20 years of my life. So it's like a second home to me. I know the neighborhoods, and I have 15 New Orleans or Louisiana specific bands I look forward to seeing every single year. It's a really amazing place, and it's the one city I've found in the United States. There are others, Austin, Texas. I've not been there, but it's one of the few cities in the United States that really put the fine arts, be that music or art or fashion or architecture or food, at the top. I mean, that's what they celebrate there. It's in the streets, it's on the walls, it's in festivals.
I really feel St. Louis is like right there. Like I hope that we are in that conversation at least. We should be for our rich history, alone. But like today in our city, I feel like we just were Yelp or something, whatever it was, just like one of the best food cities. Our music, I feel, is world class. We should be. So, and even we got the St. Louis Blues bringing a lot of our original acts and stuff and playing over there and different. Anyway, just like there's all this stuff, and I feel like we have so much happening right here in St. Louis with all this. Like I hope that when people talk about great music cities and arts and stuff, that it's like you're saying, New Orleans, Austin, St. Louis, or whatever. Hopefully we're
in the conversation.
Yeah, so
couldn't agree more.
It needs to be. So but there's I do agree, man. The food is that would be one thing too. Just go like. I get an oyster bar here, which I love, and they do a hell of a job. But like, I think it'd be fun to go down and try it try some of that Cajun Creole down in there.
They can cook. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it that they can cook.
Yeah.
And they do. They have a good time. I'll never forget one time we were talking to somebody who was down in New Orleans, and he's like, "Man, you're talking about partying and stuff." He's like, "Man, it's too hot down here. Like, we got to cut the heat somehow." So we have a couple drinks. All of a sudden, the heat doesn't bother us so much.
I remember. I think it was like John Papa Grow or something. Like one of these guys, big guys from New Orleans, and they come up in the middle of July up to Oyster Bar, and they were like, "Yeah, we like it here because it feels like home because it's humid and it's like it's like it's hot and humid and stuff." So, yeah, man, that's my own little slice of New Orleans down there at Oyster Bar. So,
For me too. I'm thankful as hell that we have John and Britt running that place, and it's a treat.
You get to play there pretty frequently, right?
I would say just solo acoustic, usually once a month, once every 6 weeks or something like that. And then the band has a couple dates coming up. We've got just locked in an April date and a May date. We're playing some Thursday nights for them, and really looking forward to those. I started playing that stage probably 2 years ago now, and John's been really giving with me, giving me opportunities. And
you frequent Tin Roof too?
I have a Tuesday night residency there with them where I do most nights, most Tuesdays. I open the night by playing 2 hours of set of music, and then we do what's called live music trivia, and it's 7 rounds of trivia all based around music. I've got a co-host, Mark Armenia, that does it with me, and it's a ton of fun. It's everything from commercial jingles to 80s hair bands to name the song, finish the lyric. We started this event about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And we just have a ton of fun with it. If you think you know a lot about music, or if you just enjoy music, definitely worth coming by on a Tuesday at 7 sometime.
I need to do that, man, because I feel like that's all that's in my head is songs and lyrics and movie
factoids
and movie quotes. But anyway, I'm pretty quick for a lot of times, especially the 90s. I listen to a ton of 90s on 9 in my car and stuff, and but I love a lot of the 90s pop stuff that I grew up on and stuff. So but anyway, I feel like I'm pretty good with music trivia and movie trivia and stuff.
It's worth coming sometime than just to check it. We've got a good following of individuals that come every week. And then some, whoever is just there that night. Sure. But the regulars are really competitive, and so Mark and I really have to think about, all right, how are we going to get you? You know what I mean? What are we gonna bring this week in order to challenge you? And it's also fun because through it I've learned a lot about music. As I'm preparing my rounds. Number one, I'm having to learn new material because my rounds are performed live. I play the music for you. So one thing I do each week is I do an artist feature. So I play 5 songs by an artist, and then I ask you 5 general questions about it. And I've done everything from Adele to the Beach Boys to John Mellencamp to Blake Shelton and the Dixie Chicks. So I've jumped all over the place. So it's helped me grow my songbook, learn to play my guitar different ways, sing different things, and also learn about bands. So I've learned a lot through this, and so it's also as much as it's a trivia night and a challenge and a game for you all. You also get some music education through it as well.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, man. You again, so you can find all the upcoming dates and all that stuff on the website, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you get involved, and
that's it.
Check it all out. You mentioned earlier too. We were talking about doing some traveling to Nashville and stuff. You've been doing. Are you? You're looking to. Are you? Is that the next thing? Co-writing more and stuff. Is that what you would like to do more of?
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I really. I want cuts. I really would like to write a song that's on the charts. I'd like to write 1,000 of them that are on the charts. Yeah. Whether it's a country chart or a pop chart. I think at this stage, Nashville is making the most sense because it's close. I can get there in the morning. I can schedule meetings with songwriters or publishers, or I can go hear music. And it's also, being from the Midwest, I can relate to a lot of that music a little bit more than, say, if I was out in Los Angeles and trying to write music like that. So this sort of sound comes a little bit easier. So yeah, a lot of what I've been doing over the last few years is just cataloging songs. And so, I've sort of gotten past the point of showing them to my friends and to my mom and to my wife, and would like to start pushing them into circles for other artists to hear, to maybe cut them. And so yeah, the this year, and we'll see how long it takes, but my goal is to be spending time down in Nashville, knocking on doors, presenting my body of work, with the hope of getting a cut or getting a deal where I can be a writer in a little more full-time capacity. Entertaining and writing music for myself is something I'll always do, but I really would like to be writing for other people and maybe working with other teams of songwriters or producers, and to find a way to get a number one, get something on the radio.
Yeah. Have you showed him Chillbox yet?
That's a cold wound, dude. That's an old wound, man. I'm sure it'll come out, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll come out. I'll have to send that one to you, but you can't put it on the show.
All right. How many songs do you think you've written? Do you have any idea? You got a count at all?
I would say, like, completed songs, probably a couple hundred. I set out to write 52 last year, one a week. And I probably got 70 mostly done, 29 that were completed songs, things that I was ready to show people. And this year I don't have that goal. Last year, like I said, was really just about let's write. Now I'm trying to be a little bit more focused with my writing. So, like I said, if my goal is to pitch to Nashville publishers, I'm not going to write an LA song. I'm not going to write a New York song. So I'm sort of writing more in that country folk space. So with that in mind, with that, because I'm going to be going to Nashville to publish the style and sound that I'm sort of working on right now is in that space.
Do you have a particular song that you're most proud of, or any of that, anything come to mind?
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I have songs that, I would say one of the first songs that I wrote that made me think, like, oh, maybe I have something here. It's actually a song I wrote when I was like 20, 21. It's called Red Dress. And then I have another song that I finished in my mid-20s called Think of You. That's a ballad that I think is a very beautiful song. And then I have some songs like Voodoo Girl. I love that song, but that was a song that I had, was a cool story and different than what I'd written before. I hadn't really written like, storyline kind of thing where I'm trying to write scenes, and there's an opening scene where you meet this character, and then a lot of stuff happens to him, and then the scene ends. But that one was, much more hands-on in the studio with Sean Kimsey, who produces my music, or at least most of my music. So that's a song I was proud of, for like new challenges, sort of dipping into new waters and things. So I don't know if that answers your question, but just in some different ways, I have songs that are important and special to me for different reasons.
Yeah. Red Dress, it's looked like his few thousand hits on YouTube. I mean, that did pretty well for that.
I teamed up with a dancer from my hometown to shoot a video for that piece, and it's funny. I don't think it's a great song. I think it's a good song, and it certainly was a good song for me to write that made me feel better about what I was doing about songwriting. And I liked the story that I was able to put together, and I was, like I said, 21 or 22. I'd only been playing guitar for a few years, so I didn't really know what to do. I didn't play guitar. I still don't play guitar all that well, but I didn't play guitar very well at all back then. And so, but I found a way to do something with the guitar to make some sounds that made it different than just playing a chord straight or something. And so, like I said, it was an important song for me.
Yeah, I think it's funny though. Like you're saying that you don't think it's a good song or whatever. It's like, but it's funny what people gravitate towards and like what becomes like your most popular song or what different things. Like I remember I saw Everlast in concert a couple of years back, and I like his I like all of his stuff, but like he closed out the night performing "Jump Around." From House of Pain, and that he wrote, and he's like, hey, thanks for helping me get paid off of this silly song for 25 years now and stuff. He's like,
right.
But it's like when you write it, you don't think it's going to be the one you're performing for 25 years later. People still want to hear that song and stuff. And
well, I think it's true. I mean, I have one of my oldest and dearest friends, John Scribner. One of my biggest supporters and believers in me and the music that I make and what I want to do with my career. And he's told me many times, he's like, the more I listen to that song, just the more I fall in love with it, and it's become one of my favorite songs of yours, despite it not being one of your more grandiose productions. I just love the story now, and I love the melody, and I like it, and I think that's one of the challenges, and it can be frustrating sometimes. I'll be in my studio and I'll pour my heart out into something, and I'll play it for somebody, and they'll go, whatever, that's all right. And then, something else, I'll have a cup of coffee and some song will fall in my head and people go, I love that song. And, so I think sometimes you can get frustrated by that, but, anymore, I just try and appreciate that. You know what I mean? You just don't know what people are going to connect with. And, I think that's why, going back to the conversation from earlier, I think that's one of the reasons why maybe the way that I've been writing music over the last couple of years has changed, and that I'm not writing necessarily from my heart. I'm just writing songs. Just writing, taking an idea or taking a melody or something and trying to build something around it that I think people can connect with. And so it's, it's made it less of an emotional thing for me, and it's made it less of a, you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you don't like that song. I just, and it's just one I made, so you can play this one for you, and we'll see how that goes. If you don't like that one, I'm gonna make another one tomorrow. Yeah, so we'll try that.
Right. Yeah. Yep, it's like Missouri weather, man. You can stick around. It's gonna change.
Wait an hour.
Yeah. It's like, yeah. Well, yeah, man. Well, very cool. This has been a whole lot of fun, man. I really appreciate you doing this, taking some time to hang with me and talk about all this music. Again, check out alexanderruwe.com for all things regarding your solo or band or anything, whatever you need. You can head over there and find all your information.
Super cool.
Yeah, man. But yeah, I appreciate you doing this, and let's do it again soon.
And we will see each other at a show, no doubt, soon. I'm certain of that.
Yeah, man. I try to go like. I mean, there's sometimes people ask me all the time like how many shows I go to a week, and there's like sometimes it's like almost every night. And sometimes
You're a madman.
Sometimes I get fried and I gotta crash for a little while. And but
speaking of which, are you going to see Tool when they come to town?
Are you
a Tool fan?
I like Tool. I like some of the music, but usually when it gets to that point, I lose some interest.
Okay.
I've been spoiled with so many good shows like at the Pageant. Or even small, off Broadway or whatever, or Rock House, and so I've gone to so many great shows in small venues. It's really hard for me to go spend $150 or more or whatever to go to the arena, and it's like
understood.
So I don't know. There's some of it's like you want to go, but then it's like, but I also look at it like I've gone to so many good shows for $5. Like that's.
Right.
That's
I could go see
that's a
20
month
or
worth of shows.
25 shows on this ticket alone. So, no, I get it.
But I am excited. I want to go see the Black Keys. I'm a huge fan of them, and I think that'll be a fun night. They're coming in September, so I might make an exception for them for the big arena show.
Quick story for you. So I was at Bonnaroo 10 years ago. And it's late at night, 3 a.m, and I'm finishing a show, and I'm walking across this massive field to go back to my tent, and I look over to the right, and it is 20,000 people, 3 a.m, 4 a.m, hands in the air, just screaming, raging, and I'm like, what is that? So I walk over there, and sure enough, it's early Black Keys.
Oh, yeah.
Just when it was the two of them, drummer and guitar, and they had 20,000 people at 4 a.m.
Very cool.
tearing the house down. It was something to see.
Some of my friends were telling me a story the other day when the new single came out the other day and all this, and so there's been a lot of discussion about Black Keys again recently. And somebody was telling me they saw them at like Lemons, I think in St. Louis, like 2002 in the basement with like 100 people or something like that. And I was like, that would have been so cool to be a part of that, like those early days of when that group was starting and stuff. And because like I didn't know it when it came out, but like going back and like listening to like Rubber Factory and all, some of the earlier albums and stuff are some of my favorite things they were doing.
Yeah.
Brothers is probably my favorite record they did.
Yeah.
I just really like that sound a lot.
I think it's an outstanding album.
Yeah.
I think it's outstanding.
So, but I mean, I'm a fan of it all. I like the way they do their version of some of those old blues stuff, kind of bringing that back and stuff.
Yeah.
And that record, Chula Home,
Chula Home. So I was talking about.
Whatever it is, it's that Junior Kimbrough record. They did all his songs.
Mm-hmm.
However you say that name, but anyway, that's another one of my favorites. That the EP, like there's some really good stuff on there too. But
yeah, I think they're exceptional. And that first show that I saw them was really special because since then I've seen them and their shows are, I would say like dynamically they're better. Like they go up and down and all over the place. Like that first time I saw them, it was rock and roll straight. I mean, they were sweating all over their instruments and. It was a grungier sound. It was a dirtier sound. Sure. I think they've grown with regard to the different styles, and the production has gone up. They're doing some really progressive stuff. But
I think that's kind of why I like Rubber Factory as much, because it's just raw, gritty.
Yeah.
There's not much production value to it at all. It's just them and going to town and so. That's what is fun, man. But yeah, I agree. There's but yeah, great band. I saw them the first time I saw them was at Scott Trade, I think, at the time or whatever. I think it was that, but it was them, and it was Arctic Monkeys opened up. So it was a really good night.
That's great rock and roll.
Yeah. And then I got to see Dan play with the Arcs at the pageant. So that was
nice.
Another good night to see him play and stuff. So yeah. So anyway, I don't know, but yeah, usually by the time it gets to that point, when the shows get that big, even like at Point Fest, I used to go to those all the time, and I used to get excited at seeing all the bands and then like the last time I went, like I still get excited because my buddy's on the side stage and stuff, all that, and but because I'm getting older too, like I just don't do well with the crowds and like crowd surfers and everything. It's just like I don't know.
That's not what you're looking for.
Yeah, I just started getting annoyed way too early, and it's like it's like
I understand.
It's not for me anymore.
I understand. Sometimes, like I said, I like the. I still love going to see big pop artists. I love going to see Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga and those kinds of shows. Even though they're the stadiums and they're expensive, like the visual, it's almost like a theatrical performance. Oh, yeah. So those are.
My wife's big into like that. Like those are the shows I take her to, and like I enjoy it. Like it's not really truly my thing, but I can appreciate the production. Like you're saying, the stage show. We saw Garth Brooks like a year ago when the last time he came around.
I'm sorry, I haven't seen him yet. I'd like to.
Yeah, and we got I took her to see Shania Twain.
Haven't seen her either.
So those are all a lot of big shows and stuff. So that kind of stuff. But Bruno Mars, we saw him, and I mean, he's incredible. Like
he's an animal.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite live shows. Like
when I saw him, this was 7-8 years ago. he got halfway through his show and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, there's a new songwriter coming up I'd like to bring to the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's Ed Sheeran out. And who's now, one of the biggest global pop stars on the planet.
I think Blake Shelton did that too when I was...
You saw him?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Ed. Something like that.
It's probably very possible.
But like I was like, it was a nice surprise. Like Blake gave him a song or two, whatever it was.
But it was when they brought him out, it was A-Team, I still didn't, I had heard A-Team, sure. I knew Ed Sheeran, but didn't really, so like the crowd was like, oh cool, and now, he's in all honesty, he's probably a bigger star than Bruno these days. Oh yeah, with regard to
he's big in that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that when she said that, it kind of came back. I'm pretty sure I saw Blake and he did a similar kind of thing, and then stepped off stage and let him do a couple, and then and came back and so I was like, that was kind of cool to give him in front of his crowd and stuff. But
I'm interested to see what he does next. I've liked his work. I haven't loved all of it. Mm-hmm. I've loved some things with regard to Ed Sheeran. I've loved some things. Liked others not been crazy about, but he has been interesting, at least for me, to follow along with and see.
The one that got my attention was the one he did on that Lord of the Rings soundtrack.
Make It Rain. Maybe.
But like I said, I do like it all. He's a great writer. Let's see if I can pull it up on Spotify here. There's
Yeah, he's talented. There's no doubt about it, and I think he's got a good career ahead of him. He's also got some mountains to climb. It's like he said that whenever he released his last album, when he released Perfect, which I like Thinking Out Loud better than I like Perfect, but he wrote Thinking Out Loud, which is huge, and he's like, oh, shoot, how am I gonna outdo this?
Let's see if I can find it. I think it was I thought it was on that Oh yeah, here we go. I See Fire. You ever heard that one?
I don't know. I'll check that out.
Oh, misty eye of the mountain.
Yes, below. I have heard this.
Oh, buffering.
I have heard that tune.
But yeah, I like that. When I heard this, I was like, yeah, it's way cool.
Yep.
Keep careful watch of my brother's souls. And should the sky be filled with fire and smoke, keep watching over during sun.
I just love that guitar too.
It's slick.
And the way the song builds, it goes from just voice, guitar, and then it adds layers in it after it too.
I love it.
Here's the. Start really getting rocking here at the end. Come on. But anyway, I like that dynamic of it all, as the song can build in layers like that. And good stuff.
Yeah, super cool.
Yep. All right, man.
Let's rock and roll.
Yep.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. It's been a whole lot of fun, buddy.
Absolutely.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Alex.
Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast. Rock Paper Podcast.
Rock Paper Podcast.
Well, yeah, that was it.